Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. This time we're going over the top 32 Nationals decks. DBS Decks just released the all the deck lists yesterday, and so we're going to go through all of them. So let's go through the top 32. Wait a minute. 8, 15, 20. There are only 31 deck lists here. Are they missing one? Wait a minute.
I didn't put Young Batsman deck list in here?
Yeah, so I guess for people who don't know, one guy was disqualified, Brandon Scott, our young bad man. Essentially his cards were, his sleeves were marked. He had the same brand of sleeves, but he bought some new ones when he got some of the new set 5 cards and didn't switch them with his deck. And he'd been playing his deck long enough that there's some obvious wear between the cards, but whatever. I'm biased. I'll add his to the list here, but man, that's just ugh. I feel bad about it. It's just, I don't know. I'm super biased because I know him personally, and I would never think he would cheat. And I think it was just with no insult, like just a bit of a rookie mistake on that. And I understand being a game loss for it. I understand giving like a DQ at some points, but like taking away his prizes and like not even putting his deck on the top 32 just leaves a sour mark in my head. So we're gonna go through all 32 deck lists in this one. But anyways, let's go to so top 32. We had half of the field was Shenron and Huragan, which isn't super surprising. But look at this diversity, like very inspirational for me. I do know it was like the first big tournament since set 5 turned out, and kind of as I've talked before, the diversity usually centralizes to about 3 or 4 leaders, by the end of a set, but I feel like this was really cool. It was a really cool representation of everyone, and yeah, I was really pleased with the amount of diversity. Doing top 16, took rid of the most of the 1-up decks except for the Krillin deck. We still have a Super 17. We have all 5 Miljanimbas got knocked out of the top 16. So that was really interesting, and it makes me wonder if there is some way of just people not knowing how to play against Miljanimba, and then once top 16 people got together or something like that, because that seems very interesting to me. That was the case, but there's that. There are no Hercules in the top 32 either, so that could be a reason, because I know that's Janimba's favorite matchup, because I ran into 2. And then we've got from top 16, so we've got even Shenron, Huragan, Trunks, and that, and then also top 8 we have only a single Shenron left, 3 Huragans, and then we've got the 2 Trunks and the Android 17 and 18s. Both of them have just been none of them have been hit until the top 4, where both it was both Trunks and both Android 17 and 18s got hit. So we just had we had 1 Shenron, 3 Huragan, and then if you don't know the results, there's top 2 Huragan and 1, like this. So is this the problem with the meta? Is the meta all Huragan? No, but what is it? So here, I think that was really cool. I think the breakdown was pretty good. We had 4 decks in the top 8, and let's go into each of the leaders by just all the deck lists by leader. So we'll go check that out. All right, so we've got here are the deck lists here. This is Marcus's deck, and I mean, what do you? I don't know, like, a lot of these Huragan Storms, I don't know what to say about them. Like, they're obviously Huragan Storm. The only thing I've been seeing is just Dependable Dynasty Son Goku as another swap target, which I think is really interesting. That it's kind of, and like, it gives more yellow, so you can have more access to yellow. I think that's really interesting. I've been shifting to that. 3 Isekai and 2 Mira. I think that's fine. Something that came up, I hope everyone knows this by now. When you use East Supreme Kai, you have to declare that you're giving your target double strike, because it says choose up to 1. A lot of people got cheesed at Nationals because of this, so just a heads up if someone still hasn't heard about that. Having a single flying Nimbus is really interesting. I don't know. He did very well. So any of these ratios are really weird. It's probably because he's been testing a lot and he knows like the exact ratio that he needs, and it looks like it worked out very well for him. More or less the exact same thing. The differences here is that he went into this is Shane Early. He decided to do Furthering Destruction Champa just so he doesn't have to declare double strike, I guess. He also had 2 Videls. He took out one of the Son Gokus, and what else was there? Oh, he took out one of the Bardoks. I was like, wait a minute, 51 card deck, call the police. But, alright, this is, oh, okay, this is a, more of a, I think this was, what do they call this? Just kind of a mono blue. Okay, yeah, Jonathan Rodriguez. Yeah, this deck was really cool, just because it was more of just getting out Gogeta and having some control. Phantom Flame Cannon's really cool. To be honest, I almost took Hurrigarn Gogeta to Nationals. It was my second favorite deck of the thing, but I went all the way up to the 7-drop chain just because getting the 7-drop out and then attacking with leader just feels really good, because then they have to put a card on top of the deck on top of dropping down to 3. So I'm really happy to see this deck did really well, and I think it's a really cool build, especially with having dimensional support trunks. It just if I had this deck, I'd be so happy to play it this weekend. I was trying really hard to make a deck similar to this, and I'm happy that someone found out the magic ratio to get them where they needed to go. More or less the same stuff. This guy ran, who's this? This is Rishi. He ran some super combos, which I feel like they clogged their deck a little bit too much, unless he's trying to go out on turn 3 instead of turn 2. He also had Dimensional Banisher Fu, which I don't think the other ones ran. They ran Scientist Fu instead. So that was interesting. Nothing too crazy after that. Next up, wait, are these the same decks? Oh, that's cool. Rishi and, oh, did I do Rishi twice? Cool. Let's see. This said Raging Spirits and Gohan. So once again, this must have been more of a turn 3 kill, where they just try to get like more mid-range and more value. So that's really interesting. Also they add one more Minosha and Hurrigarn combo, which most decks ran. Oh, he ran 4 and 3. A lot of them. These two ran 3 and 2, which is interesting. But that's about it. Nope, nothing super special. He ran Dimensional Magic and Power Charge Bardock, but nothing crazy there. Does that Bardock have Goku? It does have Goku's lineage, but so you can swap from this guy into there, I guess. That's cool, I guess. The other guy's running that? This guy didn't. He did. Okay, cool. That just sparked into my mind. Nothing fancy here. They ran Jean. So this is more of a mom Hurrigarn, I guess. And this was Jordan Markle's build. Did I say who this was? This is Miguel's. This is Miguel's build. And, oh, okay. And then this is the top 32 Egman exclusive. This is Brandon Scott, Young Badman's deck. And it's a real shame that he got disqualified in so many ways. But look, the fact that his deck was so different, like, besides Jonathan, more Gogeta mono blue deck, like this, look how good this deck looks. Like, look how different it is. It's you know, a red blue chain attack Zeno build with like Mafuba's objections, Raging Spirit, it has Dabura, it has foreseeing hits. Like, look how spicy this deck is, and it's a real shame. He also did a deck profile. I'm going to link that into the description as well if you want to hear his thoughts and everything. But I thought this deck was really cool, and I really like to see how it did top 32. So let's switch over to the Shenron decks. Alright, here are here's the first Shenron deck. This is Anthony's Gogeta Shenron. So this is really cool. There's a lot of sweet tech in this one, like having Glory Obsessed Prince of Destruction Vegeta, which is a really cool 15 drop for the Gogeta Union Fusion, just because he did a lot of cards that were just simply Child Wish targets, like Iron Hammer of Justice, Android 17 as well, or 16 as well. So that's really cool. Like this, I mean, this was like the OG Deadly Defender in a lot of ways, and so it's really cool that he was able to fit that in. And then you only get it off Child's Wish, but still, I think that's really cool. And then he just has a bunch of Gokus. He has a couple of the sneak attacks. He's got an at all cost. It looks like the main targets for the Union is one Preface and then like either Glory Vegeta or Sneak Attack Vegeta. So only 5 targets there. I think that's fine. I struggled with what are the right amount of targets to have, but this looks like it was good enough for him. Very cool deck in general. So once again, the idea is just to get out Gogeta, and then you can give a triple strike, triple attack when they have 3 cards in hand, or even like a triple attack, double strike with blown up field or something like that. So very, very cool deck. And running Dende's in the main was very interesting. But I guess it was for he wasn't maining Power Burst. That's interesting too. I guess you don't really need it. That's really interesting. No Power Burst. And this man was running no negates. That's crazy, right? Okay, I'm making sure I'm not crazy. And he was running 0 negates the entire weekend. That's crazy. And I think he got 4th, or tied for 3rd or 4th. So that's really cool. That's really interesting about that. All right, this is the Boo one. I thought this one's really cool too, and I like, not to be like, oh, I knew this, but like I had like 45 out of these 50 cards put together. I think I even went into the yellow package for Sorbet and for Battering Laser and Personal Ambition, all that, just because I realized that that sometimes Boo would need some extra support like that, and I didn't think it was good enough, but apparently it definitely was. So it's really cool to see how well this worked. So yeah, that was very cool too. So especially because you can give like he ran the Mountain of Fire, so you can give it to this power absorbing Boo, and so he has dual attack, and then you can give it triple attack, so you get 4 attacks off, and they can be 35k with crit, and so if your opponent can't out combo you and they have 4 life left, you win. Like that's like a really neat side game you can play too. And then just like having yellow in your deck is always good. So very cool there. Next up we've got I think this is the Universe 7 build. Oh, also that last deck was by Eric Christensen, so check that out. Next is Chase Richardson Universe 7 Shenron. There we go. So the idea is to just give Shenron, just get Victory Strike out and give it triple attack, and so your opponent has to not get hit 3 times with a base of 45 plus 10, like 55 base, whatever. So very strong there. I've been seeing a lot of people test this, including a friend of mine, Joel. He's been doing a lot of theory crafting and testing with this, so that's really cool that this did so well. It's definitely very scary, so it's I think it's a cool deck. So I'm happy it worked out so well for him. And yeah, nothing too crazy. He has one star ball, which is interesting, and I think it's just to get stuff in the drop for it's just to get world peace in the drop, so you can get it back to your hand without having to play it when you awaken early, I think. And since you're always going to be able to find a 1-star ball, that's my guess. It's either that or to get a full power Son Goku without having to combo 10k. So interesting there. Next up is the this is a really interesting, oh man, like this is the first time I've seen this deck. So this is a really cool Gogeta. Guess what? Grape 8 Prince Vegeta. He's a Vegeta, so you can fuse him with the 20k Gokus. That's really cool. I wish I would have thought of that. So, and then Fledging Talent Pan. Shoutouts to my boy Abe, who used to swear by this card. Really cool. Is you just choose one card in your hand, place in your drop area, draw one. It's really good for cycling. Really good for getting stuff in the drop for getting pluses with World Peace or with Shenron. So very cool there. This deck looks awesome. I want to play it immediately. So maybe I will. This looks like a really cool build. So all right, next up we've got, and he's running. He only ran the 7-drop Gogeta, none of the 3-drops, so that's cool. Or not, no, the 3-drops, none of the 5-drop that can come off for 4. Next up is the. This is a really. Is this the hand destruction one? This is yeah, Brian Samuel, and this also, did I say who this one was? Zach Egner. I don't know if I said that, but it was Zach's. Yeah, this deck is really cool. Like, look how much like diversity and like card pool this is. And so the idea is just, you know, destroying your opponent's hand. And there are a lot of ways to do that in this deck. Just looking at like the 1-star ball does a really good job with that. Dragon Radar helps you with your card economy and making sure you have cards. Burst Tax and Gohan gives crit while giving you cards. Dabura, same thing. I don't know why he did Dabura instead of hit. I guess it's just so they stay there forever instead of just until the end of the turn, which I can see. Double Strike not being as important for this. I guess he just plays all of his cards basically through World Peace, because I'm not seeing a lot of way. Like, so you can play Crisis Crusher on turn 1, but I guess you do a lot of 1-star balls on turn 1 and 2. So very, very cool and interesting build. I really like this build. So happy he did very well with that. And I don't remember if I said who this was. So just again, it's Brian Samuel. Next up, this is Danny Wins, Shenron OTK. I'm guessing the OTK is just with Vegeta. Man, I feel like a fraud not knowing the OTK. So I'm guessing it's just getting, you know, an all-cost Vegeta out with triple strike and, you know, just having a big old boy with some battering lasers ready and stuff like that. So looks good. Triple attack all-cost Vegeta is really good. So why not just bank on it? And it looks like he did. So good to him. Next up is a this is just a Shenron and Gogeta Shenron. So this deck's really interesting because it runs Whis, which a lot of people and objection. So this guy really wanted to ramp up on the life or on the energy. My favorite thing about Whis in Dragon Ball decks is just like, you better play Whis before you awake, you know, before you get all 7 Dragon Balls, because it can get a Dragon Ball into your life, and then you're like, oh, I lose. Very niche, but I can always, someone has to have done that, and it just, you know, makes me laugh in the inside just thinking about it. So, but yeah, just ramping up energy as big as you can, and just getting some big old boys and giving them triple strike, and then winning the game. It looks like, so very cool there. Yeah, so a lot of these like really big objection ramp base decks, I feel like they lose a lot to Dende, but I guess it depends on the deck as well, because not everyone can afford running a 3 energy in Dende. But I'd be interested to seeing, especially like this deck. It looks good, but it also has like deceptively low amounts of combo power, just because you're running so many extra cards. I like to. That's something I've had issues with Shenron decks and Wish decks in general, like how much like extra cards are needed, because you have so many. So that's interesting to me. And then lastly, this is Willie Newsom's just what, Gogeta, yeah. So just a Gogeta deck. We're using so he's running 1 Super Saiyan Son Goku to get it with at call cost Vegeta. Running these 2 seem correct. He's running 1 Shenron, which is interesting, and he's running 1 Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan, 1 Dangerous Journey Bulma. Guess this is for the mill format, so, and that makes sense to me. So overall, I wouldn't say like a standard Gogeta Shenron deck, but nothing nothing too crazy, but I'm happy it did well for him. And in general, like, so a lot of the like Hurrigan decks were the same, but I'm liking the diversity on the Shenron decks. A lot of them are Gojitas, but a lot of them do Gojitas in a lot of different ways. And like, look at this deck. Look how fancy this deck is. Oh, I love this deck so much. So let's move to the next set of decks. All right, we've got the Miljanimba decks next. All these fell short in the top 16, but let's go over. This is Scott Dashies. I literally played this deck. I lost to this in round 6. Very good deck. I am playing Hercule, so of course it's already an uphill battle, but it was very close. Game 2, I was able to get the secret rare Gogeta out and swung like 5 times and was able to refill my deck, and I felt like I was going to win, but he was still able to clutch it out. So bravo to him once again. And yeah, just very cool. So you run the Sake Demon to get out Child's Heart Jinma, which gets out this Janemba. He's only running the Demon Sword Janemba, which is really interesting. The rest is just kind of stalling and making sure you stay alive, which is, I think, the right play. He's running 6 negates, with 2 of them being Mafuba. He's also running 4 Courageous Heart Yajirobe, which is really good, especially with Shenron. Like, oh, you kill your Yajirobe? Okay, I'll just play Shenron, and then I'll get him back for free. Cool, thanks. Good luck getting rid of it again. So, very good. And then also 4 Vegito. And once again, just in general, a very, very strong, powerful deck. This is Kevin's deck. So he also ran the Reality Bender Janemba, and then also he ran Xenobuns. Xenobuns are really interesting. I'm surprised he ran those, but I guess it's just so you can have energy for your extra super combos, which kind of makes sense. He's also running 2 Group Leader Pilaf, one of my favorite decks, or not favorite decks, favorite cards. So that's really cool. He's also running some Crisis Crusher and Dark Power Black Messiah, so it's really cool. So this just looks more like a general counter everything, and then I'll go to my side to do that. So, all right, for the next Mill Janemba, this is by Pat O'Neill. So he's running more of a. This looks like more of a. I don't want to say like defensive, just like combo defensive, because he's running like the Group Leader Pilaf, and he's running like the Raging Spirit Son Gohan, which I don't think the other 2 have run yet. So I think that's a really cool inclusion there, and yeah, it looks like I wonder how these do against Storm, just because like a lot of them do have a lot of combo power, but they need their life, they need an energy to do that, and so maybe the Xenobun really helped for the Storm matchup, and this guy just got unlucky, but once again, kind of the same idea as the other ones. Literally, let's see. Yeah, these 2 decks are almost identical. This is Trey Faircloth's version. He, instead of Pilaf, he decided to run Isekai, and then instead of Kami, he ran 4 Vegetos. So, or 3 Kamis, he added another Vegito. So, there we go. And then lastly, we've got Alexis Mendez. Sorry, I just butchered your name. I'm so sorry. Who's running? He's running the Childish Janemba route, which not everyone's running. Only, I'd say 60% of people are running, but he's also running some Awakening Talent Pan, which is unique, and that's about it. So, Miljanimba, I don't know. I think the deck is cool, but it's not very inspiring deck building wise, because I'd say like 75, 2/3 to 3/4 of the cards are the same. So, sorry if I didn't have a lot to talk about. Let's go to the next decks, the next set of decks. Oh boy, Trunk Storm. Let's just rush through these. Let's see. These 2 look the same because they are, and nothing like, I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful to Tony Rodriguez and Rory Rhodes. Like, they obviously spent a lot of time, but they're just like, it's the same deck. So cool. Good job, you guys. And then this is a little bit more interesting. He ran. How are you supposed to get this guy out? You just hard casting this for 5? Okay, I guess, right? Right? Unless you want the Successor of Hope, right? Because, wait. Not TCG player. And choose one card from your life at your hand, switch to active mode. Against triple strike. Okay, so if you get to turn 5, you can play that, and then can you even Successor of Hope that? Okay, I guess you can. I don't know why you'd want to. Oh, did I just... Okay. Unless you're running... I don't know. It seems really interesting. I guess he's trying to just get to turn 5 and then surprise killing you with this guy. I don't know. But he did really well, so congrats, man. I'd have to see an explanation for this. Because I don't feel like you're getting to turn 5 if you're running a Storm deck, but I could be wrong. Moving on. Alright, now we've got the Android decks. So, here are the top 8 Android builds. They actually looks like they're pretty differently run. Looking at looks like they ran a lot of Shocking Deathball, which is interesting because a lot of the decks played against what was it? What was the event? The Latin America Championships. A lot of that was what a lot of people based their ideologies around, which is really interesting that none of the like Shenron Veggies didn't make it to top 32, but a lot of them weren't running a lot of negates, so it's really interesting to see both these guys running, 6 negates, and then also him running Infernal Messenger at 1 was, I'll say it's cute, but it's really interesting. He's running more Super 17 stuff anyways. It looks like he had the double chain, so that's really cool. Looks like they're both running the double chain, okay. But are they both banking the same amount? 3, 2... Okay, he's also running this extra Super 17. Only running 1 limitless Android 17. That seems interesting. I'm not going to say it's wrong, but it's really interesting to me. I wasn't expecting... I was expecting, like, yeah, more of a 4 of here. So I guess he didn't need it. He was running 8, and neither of them were running Krillin, which is really interesting. I don't think that's the wrong move, just because there was a lot of... I don't think he really does anything. He can just get blown up really easily. These decks are by Kevin Martinez and George Machado. And looks like George also ran Vile Replication. Well, I just said his name. Kevin did not. Kevin decks is a lot more interesting. He has a lot more spice, I feel like, just because with his ratios. And George also didn't decide to do the 1-drop Gohan. He decided to do Infernal Emperor instead, and then also Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan, where Kevin also decide to do that, but yeah, I guess he felt like the crit was more. I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather do Gohan or not, but and then also George decided to use Defensive Stance Piccolo, which is really interesting. I guess you kind of want to dig deeper in this deck, and I kind of understand that, versus destroying their hand, because you're already doing that. I don't feel like there's a lot of... You don't need a lot of extra hand destruction outside the cell chain, so that's interesting. They're both running the cell chain at 4, all of them at full, so that's really interesting as well. Yeah, but these are those decks, and then also we've got Russell's Super 17 Android. So this deck was really cool. It's the same thing, but it's a different leader, so that's why it's cool, I guess. But he ran half and half on the super combos. He's also running 4 Dr. Gero, which I think is really correct, just because you don't have as much card draw, and you don't awaken on 6 to draw 2, so you need a little bit more digging deep for finding your combo pieces, especially since there's so many combos you can go into. And then the cute thing you can do with this is, do they call this deck an OTK? Okay, Super 17 OTK. The other thing you could do is, so you could do Hellfire, and then on turn 3, and then you can get Super 17, and then you can do whatever. You just do the chain into there. So I think it's called an OTK because you can do the cell chain and the Super 17 chain on the same turn. So you get your opponent's hand to 3, and then you just attack with Super 17. Let me make sure on that real quick. because this guy has crit, right? Yeah, crit dual attack, and then so you just destroy their hand with Cell, and then you can get Super 17 out, and then you're just attacking with crit with that, and they don't have any cards in their hand, so they lose. So that's the basis of this deck. So very, very cool, and more I'd say like more original, not more original, but more definitely a newer deck. So I'm happy to see that it wasn't just more or less the same Android decks with some of the new set 5 cards in it. It was more of a reimagining. So very cool there. Let's go to the next decks. All right, we've got the Pan decks. We've got Ryan Miller's Xenopan. Nothing too revolutionary there. This has just been a solid deck for a really long time. He added the Yamchas at 100%, which I think is really cool, just because with Pan out, this becomes a 30k. He comes 30k when he comes out, and he can do his deal 2 damage. So that's really cool. And looking at also at Tim's deck. He decided not to run the Yamchas at 100%, but he did run the Everyone's Pal Yamcha. That's really interesting. And the Quick Rush Trunks. Oh, I love me some Quick Rush Trunks back in pre-intensifying power days. So very cool there, running 1 M2 and some after images. Just the kind of the old Xeno thing we've been seeing before. So next. And here are the rest of the one-of leaders. We've got the Universe 7 Frieza. Nothing, like, I don't want to just say, like, nothing new, but, like, it's literally Crisis Crusher is the new card, and then he has some interesting attack, including Burst Energy Super Saiyan Bardock, which is really cool just because this lets you, you can attack something directly, so that's cool. And, yeah, it's Victory Strike. Next up is the very cool Yamcha deck, the deck that no one expected, including the creator, to make top 32. So that was really cool here. Mono Red just has a lot of cool support. It has the Yamchas, has the Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku. So anyone who has like their champion packs, like break those out, or I guess their event packs or whatever. And some Terra Assault Frost, which is really cool in a format where there's so many deadly defenders. I think that's a really good tech call, and some Fortune Teller Baba as well. That's really cool. So. Interesting there. He decided the Zeno, which is really awesome too. This just looks, and Miraculous Comeback Ultimate Gohan, one of my favorite cards as well. So very cool deck, and I'm happy it did very well. And lastly, we've got Krillin Storm. It's Storm with Krillin. So running 3 Scientist Fu, very greedy there, but he got 16th, top 16, so that's good for him. Also running the Raging Spirits on Gohan is really interesting. So it looks like he was trying to get off on like turn 3, and he wasn't running any of the Mira, 1 billion attack ones. So that's also really cool. So props to him for making it so far. So, anyways, those are all the decks. I'm tired from talking, if you can't already tell. Thank you so much for making it this far. I really appreciate it, and overall, I think Nationals was a really good event. It had a lot of diversity, and yeah, that's it for me, and I'll catch you guys next time.